Ultimate Deck Podcast. Need a show about outdoor living? This is where it's at. With your hosts, Shane Chapman and Way Laurent. Thank you for tuning in. Now let the show begin. Yeah. The Ultimate Deck Podcast. Let's go.
Hey! Wade and Shane back here with the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Post-Christmas blues.
Man, there's a lot of things that have happened since the last time we were on here.
Tell me about it.
At Christmas.
You weren't, it was just before Christmas when we did our last episode, before we took our latest hiatus.
You know what? I drove from Saskatoon to Calgary. You'll have a hard time convincing me that there is a worse drive on this planet.
I've never done that one. Calgary to Saskatoon.
Sure.
I was going to argue that and be like, well, I don't know. What about, and then I was like, wait a minute, I've never actually done that one. Maybe it is worse than the ones I've done.
It's awful.
What's so bad? Are the roads, is it double lane?
Nope, single lane.
Yeah, that would be pretty awful.
Single lane the whole way. And you have to wind your way around. You drive and then you have to stop and turn and then drive for a bit more and then turn again. And Regina to Calgary, so good. You just get on the twinned highway and away you go. Everything is fantastic.
Okay. I have not
to
done
Edmonton.
It, so I'll get back to you on that. I don't know.
Oh, you want that stand?
Yeah, that's what I was pointing at you to be like, grab the stand. We will go live here on Instagram. 2024 is the year we get back on the wagon, including live on Instagram, which this was not planned for today, but we're like, you know what? Just throw it up, do it the cheap, like the old school way. Don't be so fancy about it. Don't be so complicated, and just get the thing on the Instagram. So yeah, that'll work. Good enough. So give me the Coles Notes version of what you did from Christmas till now, because it's been like a good month since we've fired this up.
Okay, so Christmas was fun. I hung out in Saskatoon and had Christmas with Rhonda and her family. So that was pretty great. Lots of presents. Kids get a lot of presents, I'll maybe move over.
Slide on over, honey.
They get a ton of presents now. Do you remember, when you were a kid, did you get presents like that? Maybe I was just
I don't know
poor.
what you haven't set what you're talking about. How many presents did they get? I can't give you a comparison.
25 or 30.
No, from total from everybody.
From everybody. I don't know who they didn't get presents from.
That's quite a bit.
I'm almost certain that your family sent presents. There's just so many.
They're very generous.
Anyways, it was wild. It's good, I guess.
Hey, look, Tom from Bold Pros is on here. Boy, do we have questions. Let's change the name of this episode now. Let's talk about what the hell happened there.
Almost.
But no, I feel like when we were young, it was like we'd get one present from mom and dad and one present from Santa and whatever. I get it. They get a lot of presents now. I don't know that my kids are getting 20. If I bought my kids 25 presents each, I'd be
it's not from there, but it's grandma and grandpa and aunts and uncles, and I don't know. It's a lot. So anyways, so that happens. And then I left and went to Calgary, did that horrific drive, and I spent 5 days with my family.
Okay.
I think at the age of 43. Oh, I've been cut out of this now.
No, I'm moving it to your side so I can see better when there's a comment, because I don't want to have to look over my shoulder.
At the age,
you're gonna have to do the scrolling, but
no problem. At the age of 43,
now,
I cannot spend 5 days with my family.
Oh yeah, no.
They're great. They're great. I love them. I think it's fantastic. But the best story of the whole time was, it was day 4 or something, and my dad says, "Oh, I'm going to Cabela's." And I was like, "Oh, that'd be awesome. I'd like to come." And he says, "Nope." And I was like, "What do you mean, no? Why can't I go to Cabela's with you?" And he was like,
"No, Wade, straighten up." There you go. There we go. We got her. Okay.
So he just
he left you.
He left me. And it wasn't an option. And then mom was like, "Well, can I come?" And he was like, "Nope." Nobody was allowed to go with him.
How would you have felt if he would have said yes to mom? after saying
I
no to
expected him to say yes to mom.
you. You're like, yeah,
I thought like they should go and then decompress and then come back.
no
right?
chance that he'll say no to her.
Nope. He said no to everyone. Nobody was allowed to go with him. He just went to Cabela's for 2 hours by himself.
2 hours.
Yep. Just left Christmas. Was like, I'll
Just
be back
went
later.
Talked to the
Nothing.
stuffed
He
mountain
probably
goat.
have probably talked to no one.
Hey, goat. Some shit to
So
put on you.
that was it. I went ice fishing one time over the holidays. We had some great meetings at the start of January. Then we went to WRLA. I had really good meetings at WRLA, and then I won a all expense paid trip to Churchill, Manitoba, which is that's a big old deal. That one.
You did.
Somebody told me that's a $10,000 prize package.
So I have a funny story about that. $10,000?
$10,000 because it's like flights and accommodations and food and a beluga whale.
Thanks, Justin Trudeau.
Right?
This $3,500 trip now costs $10,000.
Yeah.
You know what you should do is you should fire your camera up from this angle. Should invite you to it. We'll have like a split screen chat, but one face will be yours and one face will be mine. That would be so good, Wade. You should have thought of that before.
We don't have another tripod, do we?
So you won that trip, which is funny. We got 100 tripods.
Okay.
I remember that
Next
small
time.
and sleek, but you won that trip, legit won. Like
I legit won
there was
it.
like a room. How many people would you say were in there? Like a couple hundred for sure.
Yeah, I would have said one. Yeah, sure. 150, 200 people.
And so this guest speaker, keynote speaker, was speaking, and then it was like, everybody check under your chairs, and if you find the green ticket, you've won a trip. And it wasn't under your chair, but you found the chair that was like after you clotheslined that poor lady off the back of her chair.
She didn't want it.
Chair flipped over and was like, oh, look.
She didn't understand what we were doing.
If you'd have kept your mouth shut, lady. So you cleaned her up and then found the ticket and won her trip. My type of winning in my mind was to bid on the silent auction items. I bid on a couple silent auction items, and then I was the winner. That's what they told me. They're like, you won.
You did win.
When they called me, they're like, you won the Meta Quest 3 silent auction item. I was like, oh, yeah, right on, sweet. So I told my wife that I won, because that's the words that they use with me.
Yep.
She's like, you didn't win, you bought it. I was like, well, but it was a competition to see who could buy it. And I won.
Bought it for more money, but they didn't. I was the most money.
So she disagreed that was considered winning when you just like buy something. But I told her, I was like, I got it for like way less than what it sells for. So in that respect, it's winning.
You won.
Then I told her your story. I was like, oh, if you're looking for like real winnings, like
Yeah.
Wade won a trip.
Yep.
For real. Like doesn't have to pay for it. He has to
I will
drive
have to
himself
pay.
to Winnipeg. So maybe you didn't win either. You just bought yourself a trip.
Maybe.
Bought yourself a cheap trip.
It will cost me money because I believe that I'll spend a couple days at the Nordic Spa before I go.
Oh yeah, there you go.
I'll go hit the spot.
Another funny story.
And then I think I want to try and fish the Churchill River at the very, very north part of the Churchill River. So it's going to cost money.
Yep. There'll be a couple bucks spent. I just realized now that my funny stories all involve my wife.
That's who you hang out with the most.
But, so anyways, this year we've been to Vegas like a lot.
121 times.
The shows we go to all the time are in Vegas. More often than not. Plus personal trips to Vegas and everything else. So like Vegas out. But the last time we were there was in November, and we're like, you know what? We should not come here for as many days as we always do. We always like, oh, let's go for the whole show, and let's show up the day before and then leave the day after so we can take it all in. And then we went up there for 5 days. And then by day 3, we're like, man, we should just go home. So, but we're like, maybe the next one we invite our wives, and then we can actually enjoy some time away from the show too. And they can do their thing, and like, we'll bring them along and they'll be super happy and pumped. So
I thought it was a great
I
idea.
think you got pretty early buy-in on your wife.
Yep.
I had an expected battle with mine where I was like, this is good. Like, it might not be that she doesn't want to go, but it was just like, she has a massive fear of committing to things. So I pitched it, and then I was like on her like every few days, like, oh, I need to know. Anyways, she ends up saying like, oh, I don't know. Like, you've been to Vegas a whole bunch. I don't really know that I care to go back there. Like, what are we going to do? You've done it all. And I was like, well, fine. Like, if you don't want to go, you don't want to go. Well, and like in February, it's not going to be warm there anyway. So like, I don't know. I think I'd rather just go somewhere else and do something else. I was like, okay, fine. So then last week we're in Winnipeg.
Oh yeah.
And while we're in Winnipeg, I'm like talking to her on the phone one day from the hotel room. And I was like, I don't even know what I said we did. Like, we didn't do much there. We went to the show and stuff. She's like,
some dinners.
I should have went with you to Winnipeg. Help me make it make sense. You didn't want to go to Vegas in February because it was going to be too cold and not enough to do. But here you are having regrets about not coming to Winnipeg in January.
Was it because you went to the hockey game?
This is what I'm up against, Wade.
Is it because you went to the hockey game?
No, I don't even know if I told her that part yet, but nor would she care to go to a hockey game. But you remind me because you said the Nordic Spa. She's like, oh, we could have went to the Nordic Spa. Like, yeah, I guess. As if that's cooler than all of the things in Vegas combined or something.
Yeah. Are they opening a Nordic Spa in Saskatoon? Is that happening?
I don't know. I thought I heard a rumor about that, but who knows? Maybe somebody just farted in the river. Same thing. This episode, right? Yeah, that is confusing. Hey, that face you're making right now is how I feel inside. But,
I don't understand why she wouldn't want to go to Vegas. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, she's been there before, but it's been probably like 8 or 10 years since she's been there. So it's like she's like, well, you've done everything and seen everything. It's like, no, I haven't. I've just done and seen everything on the Strip. Like, and not even that, but like, I've been to the convention center a lot.
Yeah,
this is true. But I promise I won't take you there. Like, you don't have to come to the convention center. I haven't explored outside of Vegas much.
Yeah, you and I did
in November.
Hoover Dam.
Right. That's the first time I've left the city on a trip to Vegas before.
Yeah.
And so I would totally like.
I was talking to Rhonda about doing a helicopter ride. She absolutely will not ride a helicopter. She's like, no chance.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
I'm surprised you will.
Yeah. What I got to
You're
lose?
the one who's afraid of heights. We went on so I've heard that that's amazing. My mom has done it, and I know a couple other people I've spoke to have done it. Like, you got to do the helicopter ride out to the Grand Canyon and land in the canyon, blah, blah, blah. We did a helicopter tour in Hawaii during our honeymoon the one time. It was absolutely
Jurassic
incredible.
Park one.
However, when we got back from our trip, we weren't back. Actually, the one crash happened while we were there, not a tour helicopter, but the other one happened like a day after we got back, or maybe it was while we were still there, but it was like after we had left that resort. There was a military helicopter that had crashed while we were staying at Turtle Bay on the North Shore. And so like we're there one day, like on the beach, and there's like militaries moving in, there's like boats heading out. We were out on a little catamaran boat thingy.
Yeah.
When there was like the military like dinghies, whatever, with like 800 horse motors, and just like they're heading out to sea. We're like, what is going on out here? And then as we're like walking around the village and stuff, and there's like military everywhere, we're like, what? Like, what the hell? Get back to like our room the one day and turn on the news, or whatever. And it's like, turns out that 2 military helicopters in training crashed into each other, and they were like right there at the North Shore. Like, we obviously didn't see the accident, but it was like we watched the boats going to find the wreckage. So that was kind of crazy. And then, like I said, just after we got back, it was like all of a sudden there was a tourist helicopter that crashed at Pearl Harbor, like right in the bay.
Yeah.
That's
like, what I had heard. Some people were telling me it was like,
most people survived.
A few helicopters a year go down at Vegas, like they crash. Those like canyon ones.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, there's like 4 a year that crash. And I'm like, yeah, but like February is pretty early. It's like they usually probably don't crash until May or June.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like, we'll
for
be
sure. Statistically, they happen more later in the year.
As the helicopters get more tired at the end of the year.
Okay, that's all enough story time. Dry deck. How do you feel about a dry deck?
It's the worst. Dry decks are the worst.
Here's how you can have one of your very own if you'd like.
Underneath the deck should be dry. That would be fantastic.
Right. Underneath your deck is where you really want to make sure it's dry.
Yeah.
So this is a somewhat common question for people building a new deck is like, I want to keep the space beneath my deck dry. I don't want to be rained on because either it's a second story deck or something where there's still functional space underneath, like a patio that they can enjoy, or like a walkout basement type of scenario, or it's tall enough that they could use it for storage and they'd like to keep things under there that they would like to keep dry, like their lawnmower or any sort of
patio
furniture, whatever. Keep the elements off it. So there's a common question like, there's a common question from some people, and other people don't ask the question because they think there's only one way to accomplish this, and so they just do that without doing the research. But we're going to give you 4 options today, and there's honestly probably 25 of them in the market, but 4 common options.
Yeah.
Conveniently that we stock all of.
Yeah.
So might as well focus on the ones that are available that will keep your deck dry below. And they each have their pros and cons, their benefits. They each have their installation methods and when you can and can't use them. So we're going to go through the 4 of these here and just discuss them a little bit.
Okay.
Off the top table of contents here, we're talking about Trex Rain Escape, probably the most well-known one because it's a Trex product. Dexerdry, maybe a little bit less known. ZipUp, which is a great system. And then, of course, the traditional vinyl sheet, Duradek being the big brand. There's all sorts of brands out there.
There's likely
vinyl sheet. Likely a gazillion brands.
of those. Yep.
Where does a gazillion fall in the spectrum of numbers?
Like after trillion.
But before a Google?
Yep.
So we'll chat about each of these. Now, let's just start at the top. Trex Rain Escape.
Yep.
We sell a lot of Trex Rain Escape. Now, if you haven't seen the system before, it's a very simple system, both in the amount of SKUs required to put the system together and in its actual installation process. So it is a DIY friendly system, I would say. You can do it yourself, even as a homeowner, as long as you have, you're not a...
If you're planning to build a deck, if you're building a deck yourself, this part is no problem. This is fine.
Yeah. So it's made up of a few SKUs. One, the primary SKU is the troughs that go over top of your joist. So this system goes on top of your framing, but below your deck boards. So this is a system that has to be installed before you put your decking down. So if your deck already exists, this one's not an option for you.
Yeah, retrofit is really hard with this.
Unless you're planning to rip off your deck boards.
Pull the whole thing up.
But you'd frame this first, then you would roll out these troughs. Now the troughs will work on different size joist bays, commonly 12 inches and 16 inches. The same troughs will work on both.
Yes.
Or anything in between. How it works is you staple these troughs from joist to joist and you pitch them or you droop them, pull them tight at the house, droop them at the outer edge of the deck where you want the water to pitch and flow.
Yep.
It creates a slope and the water drains down that way. At the end where that water is draining to, you place a bucket or a scupper or whatever you want to call it, a big bowl.
Downspout.
With a spout on it, yeah. So the water travels down the troughs, dumps into these buckets, pours out the nozzle or the downspout that is the same size as a traditional
it's like
downspout
5 inches, right?
That a spout can connect to. And that dumps into an eaves trough, which is not part of the system. You just get your own eaves trough. Yep. You attach that eaves trough to the posts of your deck, however you want to hang it underneath there. It catches the water. It funnels it to wherever you want to run the downspout to dispel the water.
Yep.
Where the seams overlap on top of the joist where you stapled it down, you cover it with a butyl tape. It's part of the system. There's a butyl caulking as well for seaming. You're supposed to put down a bead of caulking on top of the joist when you put the Rain Escape down. I don't know that many people do, but you're supposed to. And then they have tape that you put on top, and they have a wall tape, a wall flashing.
Yep.
The wall flashing, I don't know if it gets used a whole lot. It's just a foam gasket that compression fits.
Yeah.
Most people
we've sold it a few times. There's some guys that have used it for sure. So basically, there are some people that are also making a system much like Trex Rain Escape. They're making like a bladder system, and then they're creating their own. They're creating their own troughs and their own downspouts out of EPDM membrane and cutting. That's a lot more labor intensive. It's like cost effective, costs less than the Rain Escape system, but would cost more in time and labor to put it all together. So
the Trex system out of the box, it's just all pre-cut, all ready to go. Those troughs come in 12-foot and 16-foot lengths.
Yep. They used to have this horrific orange color that the whole system was made of.
That was one of the world's greatest mysteries. Why that color?
Didn't we hear that it was like that was the cheapest dye they could find?
I guess.
It was like a terracotta. It was awful. So you put your deck boards down and then you look through the spacing in the deck and it's just like this glowing water management system.
Burnt orange.
It was awful.
Yeah, it's black now, which is way better, which is what
and some of our
always
suppliers
says.
were like, our one supplier in Saskatoon was just like, it costs more if it's black. Will people pay that? It was like, I'm not going to tell them there's even orange as an option. Just get me the black one and they'll never know.
Yeah. So it's a great system. The way it works then is that you then just put your deck boards over top once you've taped up those seams. And when you use your Trex clips or whichever fastener you're using, it compresses the boards down. It squishes the butyl in the tape so that it kind of squishes around the penetration of the screw, to seal that up too. Water falls between your deck boards into the troughs, down to the buckets, down into your eaves trough, and down into your downspout directed water wherever you want. I don't think they have these anymore. I could be wrong. They used to have post sleeves as well. So if you're doing like a wood railing, you could slide like a collar over top. I can't remember if they got rid of those or maybe we just don't have anymore. I don't remember. But anyway, it's very minimal. Like you need to basically buy 4 things: the troughs, the buckets, the caulking, and the tape.
Yeah.
And you've got yourself a dry system.
What are the pros?
The pros, so pros are easy to install, minimum number of SKUs, keeps your lumber dry. I like that one.
I like that a lot.
So you're kind of 2-in-1ing it here. You're controlling the rain from falling through and getting below your deck wet, but you're also protecting the treated lumber from ever getting wet, therefore increasing the longevity of your framing as well.
Allegedly.
So that's really good too. It can be, you can install wiring, lights, speakers, fans, etc. underneath the system because it's dry. So you can run traditional wiring underneath there. You don't need any sort of conduited cable or anything underneath.
Certainly
so
less
nice.
nerve-wracking, right?
Yeah.
Like,
easy to close the system in underneath. So it's all completely, it's completely housed between the joist bays. So if you want to go put a soffit underneath, you can. You might have a little bit of trickery to do around where the buckets dump out. Like you might, whatever aesthetic you want, you might have a little bit more detail work there to hide that all if you care to.
Yep.
But I would say that
I like that you can build the deck level.
Yes, sorry, that was absolutely probably the biggest one.
Because then like all your water is contained within the cavity, like in the joist base, and so your railing runs level, and there's no like weird distance between the house and post. And
that's by far probably the biggest benefit of some of the other systems off that as well. But but that's absolutely a big one. 2 do and 2 do not.
Yeah. So okay.
So Trex Rain Escape, really great option for those DIY
system.
folks.
Yep.
And allows you to still use your hidden fastener systems as well, because the next one does not. So next one is Dexerdry. That's Dexerdry. Now, this is a completely different take on keeping the system dry below. It's going to be much more cost effective than Trex Rain Escape, because there's one SKU, one component.
Just one.
And the way this works is it works in conjunction with the grooved composite deck boards. So you have to use a system that they have a specific profile for, because this is a rubber gasket with little fins that squeezes into the groove of the deck board and then gets compressed between 2 boards so tightly that water can't pass through it. So it fills those grooves in the side of your deck board. But because it requires that compression and proper fit to work, you have to use the right profile for your board. So the profile for a Fibron deck board is different than the profile for a Trex deck board because the grooves are shaped differently.
Yes.
But they do have this available for Trex, Fibron, Decorators, I think probably TimberTech
as well, yeah.
And maybe a couple others, I'm not sure. So they've probably got a profile for the decking that you're using. But essentially, it's a rubber gasket that goes into the grooves. You have to compress the next deck board really tightly with a tool, tool they call a blue claw, or some sort of hardwood wrench that pushes the boards so tightly together that the rubber gasket kind of gets squished in and creates the seal.
Yep.
So it works really great. The only caveat to this, I think, is that you have to use face screws now. You can't use a clip anymore because you're occupying the groove for the water system.
And I don't love that.
You could use plugs still for a cleaner finish, but it's going to be a little bit more work on that front. It's certainly quicker than doing Rain Escape and then decking, because it goes on a lot faster, but you then have to face screw everything. So I kind of like to think of this one as being like really great for small decks, maybe where somebody's it's not like their prized possession in their backyard or something like that. It's a small landing or something like that. And it's like they're okay with face screws or having to plug all the holes. It's not that big of a job. You do have to pitch this one a little bit, because you do have to allow the water to run a certain direction, because the water is now staying on top of the deck boards and then shedding off the end of the deck or the side of the deck.
Yeah, and so typically the framing is going to change on this, because usually you will attach your ledger to your house.
You don't have to on this one. I know where you're going with this, but you don't have to do that. You can still run your...
Well, you'd have to put your whole deck on an angle, left to right.
No, you can pitch it forward off the front like you would normally, like you would do with Duradek.
Okay.
So it is intended to, like, the water can pass cross like
Yep.
perpendicular to the deck boards. It can run that way. It doesn't have to run the way of the channels, but you do have to have a slope.
Because that gasket is basically flush with the top of the
Squishes
deck
and
boards.
almost makes it all flush. Yeah.
Yeah.
But even if
That's
water
how I
does
would
sit in
do
there,
it.
it's going to shed somewhere at some point. It can't fill up. There's not a big gap there, and it's watertight. So if it sits there for a second, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So this system's really nice. However, also has to be installed at the time of the decking going down. Can't be retrofitted in without removing deck boards. Also keeps the decking itself dry again. So you're
Framing
extending
dry.
the
Yep.
life of the framing, sorry, not the decking.
Yep.
So that's nice. Yeah, great little system. We also stock this one. It comes in rolls. So big rolls. You just cut your pieces to length. So very minimal waste.
Yep.
Easy to use again. So
Yeah.
works really good. It's pretty slick.
And then, minus would be not a level deck, face screwing.
Yep.
No hidden fasteners.
But offset with a lower cost. So pick your poison. Next one we'll talk about is vinyl sheet. This is your Duradek, your weather deck. Those essentially
Tough
linoleum
deck.
on your deck.
Deck, tech.
If people are trying to visualize it and they don't know what it is, it's like it's linoleum, or like vinyl roll flooring
Yep.
on your deck. So this is the one that people are most familiar with because Duradek has done a great job of branding themselves over the years as the waterproof deck solution.
Certainly.
But in my opinion, it's the most or the least aesthetically pleasing on the list because you have to use their printed rolls, their patterns on the rolls. You can't use your regular decking.
And so some of those patterns have changed over the years, and there certainly are some that are a little bit better now. They have ones that look like plank flooring, which looks okay, but yeah, those just random paint splattered yellow and brown, like, oof, man, some of that stuff was horrific.
There's for sure that the wood plank designs look a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
That said, it still looks like
still
imagine what wood plank designed linoleum would look like in your kit. You're
That's
not
what it
fooling
looks like.
anybody.
Yep.
It just still looks like a roll of vinyl.
Yep.
You have to pitch your deck, and it's fairly aggressive. Inch over 8 feet at most. Inch over 6, I know a lot of them recommend too.
Yeah.
So you have a fairly aggressive slope on your deck because the water, again, has to run somewhere. It can't sit on the seams. The seams are all heat welded together.
Yep.
So you have to shed that water. So the aggressive slope is for two reasons kind of crappy. One, when you go to install your railing, it's a bit of a pain in the butt as to whether you're going to plumb your posts and try to plumb all your pickets, or if you're just going to let it follow the pitch of the deck, but then it looks visually off. And so you struggle there. And the pitch of the deck is aggressive enough that you can feel it when you're sitting on it and walking on it. So you're sitting on a lawn chair, like sideways to it, and you can feel like your weight shifting to the one side a little bit.
Yep.
It's aggressive enough that that's noticeable.
It seems to be the biggest, it seems to be that this system gets used the majority of the time for walkouts, and I don't understand why, because when you do walkouts, like those typically don't happen on inexpensive houses, right?
Right.
But this is a pretty easy solution. It doesn't require much thought on the home builder side of things. They're just like,
This is an awareness thing, in my opinion, because people don't know about the other options. In our stores, like not that you and I are in the sales floor much anymore, but when people walk in and they want a dry deck beneath, this is what they're looking for because they think that's how you get it.
Yeah.
And then when you say like, no, you could put a Trex Rain Escape system on and then use any decking you want, they're like, oh, well then let's do that because I much prefer the look of this composite decking or wood decking. You can use wood on there. You can use whatever you want on that system. That's what's nice about it.
Yeah.
You're not just pigeonholed into using the pattern of vinyl sheet that you want to use. The other knock on this stuff is that it can, over time, it's somewhat common to hear about the seams like letting go, or if you drop something sharp on it or hot on it, you can puncture or in some way damage the sheathing, and then you've penetrated it with water.
Yeah, my least favorite part about this system is that that you can ruin your water management system because that's your surface. And so it could be a nail or a chair that drags across it and it like rips, like as soon as it tears the surface of that, your deck is no longer waterproof.
Yeah.
And it starts to rot your framing and it rots your sheeting. And so you can fix that. You can obviously take, a little knife and cut out the square and then heat weld another patch in, but you always notice it. There's always a ridge there, right? So one of the reasons I like the Rain Escape system and the Dexerdry is that it's below your deck board, and so it's protected, right? Like it's it doesn't feel like your water management system is in danger by using your deck.
Yeah, right. This one does have to get installed over plywood, so you got to put 3/4 inch tongue groove plywood underneath.
Yep.
And there's a lot of prep work as well with filling the crevices and seams of the plywood and sanding that down to get a flat surface.
Premier Outdoor Center request to be in our live video.
Bring them on in. So that's love-hate with this stuff. Is it effective? Yeah. Is it price effective? It probably falls somewhere between Dexerdry and Rain Escape, depending on what board you're going to use with the other systems. If you're going to use a lower cost board with Dexerdry, then you're probably going to be less than doing a vinyl sheet. Otherwise, you might be more. It just depends on your decking choice. Last one we're going to talk about is ZipUp. I don't know. Sean from Premier Outdoor Living is trying to get in here maybe on the left. Oh my goodness, there he is. Is he in a? He lives in a van
down
by the river. It's snowing there a fair bit.
Hey,
Hi,
Kat.
Catherine. We need to Bluetooth you in here so people can hear this. Hold on here. Let's see if we can make that happen.
We're going to try and flip you into Bluetooth, guys.
Why are you in the van?
Certainly you can.
See if you can swipe down and go to Bluetooth and add the Rodecaster on here. Let's see if we can make this happen, because nobody on the other end of this can hear them, which is not a great experience. Depending on, here you go. Let's make this happen. Make this happen. Come on, baby. Come on. There it is.
Roadcaster.
This is going to happen for us. I mean,
so I was thinking you guys were just in the van because there's 2 inches of snow. I was like, well, maybe we'll just stay in the van instead. Stuck on the job site, your family. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
Your family misses you.
Yeah.
They're like, guys, come home. It's just snow. You don't have to stay there.
It's too dangerous here. We're not used to this kind of stuff. How you guys doing?
You know what? We talk about trying to get back on the podcast, and we're almost never in the same city anymore. So I was down in like Regina, and that's not how you say it.
That's Regina.
So
Stop blushing.
So yeah, we thought we'd throw it on and talk about some different ways to keep your deck dry. So we've covered Trex Rain Escape, we've covered Dexerdry, we've covered vinyl sheet decking, and now we're about to talk about ZipUp.
Here it is. Look it. Here comes.
Perfect timing.
Here comes a thumbs up.
It's almost like they paid you to show up here or something.
It's almost like I knew that you guys were going to talk about this, but really it's just total coincidence. So and now the more I'm saying, the more it sounds like it's not coincidence, but it really is coincidence.
So do you want to take it? You want to take it from here and tell us why we would use ZipUp?
So we've only used it one time. We don't do a lot of second story decks, so there's not a lot of opportunities to use it, but I've seen people use it before, and they're obviously owned by the same company as Adornstone, so we're familiar with them and everything. So I thought it was a great way to get the waterproof system. It's accessible. Like, I never wanted to try doing Rain Escape or anything like that, because like if you have an issue, you got to take up deck boards. Like it's a lot of work.
Certainly.
But this is accessible. It also creates that finished ceiling, and I was surprised how good it looked. We used the black, and it was easy to use, and I thought it looked awesome. So I think it's a great solution.
Did you put any speakers or lights in the deck with this system?
We did not, no. So this was just our first try with it, but we definitely will on the next one for sure. I think they're coming out with a light kit for it.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. I know some people have done it with, creating like little domes over it and kind of like diverting the water behind it. But I think it seems fairly easy to do it. And then if it's not watertight, you can just pull down a panel and, redo your your water diversion around it.
Yeah. I wonder if guys would use like an insulation bag, like a poly bag that you would put around a pot light in a house. I've seen guys use stuff like that on TimberTech dry space. So
yeah, I've seen people do like a dome over top of it, and then kind of like just an L bend aluminum, and then silicone that down. So anything that's running down the sheet, it hits that diverse around it, and then you just have like the thing over top of it just needs to stop stuff from coming in through the deck boards on top of it. So seems pretty easy, but we kept it kind of straightforward on this first one, and the black looks pretty awesome.
Okay. That's what you're known for, is just keeping things fairly straightforward and simple and just functional.
Keeping it easy, you know what I mean? I got enough on my hands, just hanging out in this van. I don't have time to, try and new, technical stuff. So keep it simple on everything, straightforward.
If you had to pick a negative, if you had to talk about a minus to it, what would that be?
I'd say, it's not gonna, they did just come out with the wood grain look.
Yeah, it looks so
awesome.
sharp.
I was really surprised how good that looked when I saw it at Deck Expo. But it's not gonna look the same as like a vertical grain cedar or like, something like that where it's, you can tell that it's real wood. I don't think it's going to replace that, but I was surprised how good it did look. It's a little bit hard to, get into the starter strip channels.
Oh yeah.
On your rails when you first try it. So that was probably the hardest thing that we encountered, was like getting the system of like, I think we had maybe 14 feet, like getting that in there, kind of wiggling it in and then working your way down. So after like, I'd say probably an hour or so, we had it figured out pretty good. And I think if you're doing it a couple of them, you probably get in a groove where, literally in a groove where you got it figured out.
Well played, sir.
Yeah. What did you think? You worked on it. Catherine's here also. Don't be shy.
Hi.
Yeah, just a hand.
I was gonna say,
hi, this is my palm.
All of a sudden you decide to be shy. It's like today.
You know how much taller she was than me?
yeah, really tall.
I didn't. I
She's
didn't
at the
remember it like
front
that.
of the van. Do you have plants in the window of your van?
Oh yeah,
For real, for sure.
Can we
yeah.
have a tour of the van?
Yeah, give us a tour. Let's see this whole
A van
van.
tour?
It's a
Yeah.
bit messy, but that's okay.
There's Steve.
Hey,
So,
Steve.
guys,
Steve, how?
Also, that's the front of the van.
that's where we
That's where we
can
drive.
drive it from.
That's
How many
storage.
people do you
of
have in there right now? How many people are in that van?
There's three people in this van at the moment.
And then there's 3 people outside of the van. There's Anthony.
Oh, yeah, Tony.
That's great.
And then there's Sean's desk
Okay.
and a printer.
Floor.
There's a drum on the floor. There's my desk.
What do you actually
Kind of hard to get to the van for.
like? What do you do in the van? This has totally gone off the rails here, but what do you do in the van aside from hide from the weather? What do you do in the van on a day? Like, why do you have a desk in there, Sean? Are you working on quotes and shit during the day? Like, are you leaving these poor guys out in the sun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. It is very much for business. No anything else. It's just strictly business. No joking. No time for fun. It's just pure business the whole time. No, I actually do. I get a lot of work done in here. Well, I don't want to say a lot, but I get a good amount of work done when I need to. But a lot of times I'm kind of in and out. I got it set up so I can work on designs, or a lot of times it's just like, finishing up a quote, sending that out, or working on content. We're all airdropping stuff to each other. So, my productivity in the van did decrease when Steve came in here and took my old desk.
Right.
So, right now it's not the best desk in here out of the 3, but, we make it work.
It's kind of funny. I never had a van. But I remember one time, I don't know if Wade remembers this conversation or not, but years ago when I was still building, I was in this spot too, where I was recording a lot of stuff and doing a lot of stuff on Instagram, had a lot of quotes to do. And it was like, I wanted to get some of them done during the day. And I had a crew that was working for me, but like, I couldn't just not be there. They still needed me around to help with that. So I was saying to Wade one day, I was like, I think I'm I'm going to like pull up a chair and like bring some sort of tabletop out there. And I'm just going to sit in the backyard and work on stuff while they're working on the deck. He's like, don't do that.
Yeah,
I was like,
don't
why?
set
No,
a table
it'll be
up.
great. I can like get quotes done. He's like, if you did that on a job site that I was working on, I would quit right then and there. If you were sitting at a table watching me work, I'd be gone. I was like, fair enough. So I didn't do it.
But you have the walls of the van, so they can't tell that you're watching.
We do, and it works like both ways. So I can, when I need to remove myself from outside the elements and get some work done in here, I can do that. Or if I'm out there and Ant gets annoyed with me, he can say, all right, back to the van.
You need to go.
Back to the van.
Yeah.
Like, it works for everybody. And, I mean, it's not going to be for every business. I don't think every business owner needs a van to bring on site,
Certainly.
but you know, we have kind of a unique business model here where we're filming stuff and then, I'm kind of in and out working on stuff on site and then in here working on quotes, design. So we got it set up pretty good where, you know, we can do what we got to do and not have to have like a stationary office.
So yep, that's
There's
pretty sweet.
everything we need.
So that's pretty sweet.
You didn't participate in the start of the podcast, but we were talking about how many Christmas presents kids get now. How was Christmas at your house, Sean?
It was, I'm trying to think, how many presents did he get? Well, he's at the age where like the stuff that he likes, it's not expensive.
It's the cardboard box that the present came in.
Exactly. So it's pretty simple. Like he's not asking for like an Xbox or whatever they got now.
A
Y box,
hoverboard.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever kids are playing with these days, he's not asking for that stuff. His main thing they wanted was a cool blue car. And he's like not even 3 yet, so there wasn't like a whole lot of descriptors around that. So we got him like a $5 little like toy Lamborghini.
Yep.
And he absolutely loved it.
Okay.
And we got him like a bunch of other like just little stuff, but probably we probably got away $100. I'd say maybe $150.
Wow.
That's it. Yep.
Gave him some
It's
adorned
ridiculous.
stone.
How much
Look at these.
kids get.
Look at these gems I found you. Start your rock
We
collection.
got all the adorned stone that you could possibly want, Max. We put it in his crib. He loves it.
Yeah, it's
Nice
perfect.
and soft.
Just something to chew on, get yourself to sleep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
What about you?
Good.
Did you go all out there, Shane?
Yes and no. I'm a big Christmas guy. I tend to buy until the day comes. Like that's why I start so late, because if I start in August, I'll just keep buying until December 24th. So it's safer if I just start my Christmas shopping mid-December. But like we've got lots of kids, so there's lots of presents happening. We got multiple families. It's just like it's really just a shit show all the time. I don't feel like
Sounds
we
like it.
overextended ourselves. Like each kid got whatever, a couple things. Like I'm killing time right now because I don't know what we got our kids. My wife did that. I'm just rambling. Be like, talk about something else. Anything
I
else.
was just as surprised as they were when they were opening gifts. It was so great for all
Holy,
of us.
look at all that stuff I bought you, dear.
That's actually how it was for like everyone that we did get presents for, like my brother and his wife and my parents. I was like, oh wow, that's I'm glad that we got that for them. I didn't know what was in there, but
Yeah.
that's great, and it's for both of us. So
Yep.
I hope you like it.
Yeah, right.
Or if it's something that's like really weird and like not a good gift, and I can tell, I can just say, I didn't pick that out.
Yeah, I
I
had
had
nothing
to
to do with that.
Yeah, that is not on me.
Yeah.
My present's coming. It's in the mail, but that's not on me. So
That's funny.
I got kind of in or out either way.
Catherine, did you get spoiled? 20 gifts each?
Did I what?
Did you get spoiled? Like you're the one who got the 20 gifts?
Something like that, yeah. No, I have 9 nieces and nephews, so we put a lot of our energy into that. So yeah,
Didn't you get
that's the fun part.
something with, was the puppy,
I did get a puppy. Yeah, that's
was that,
she's
that
counted.
wasn't on Christmas.
She counted. Yeah, she
That was
counted.
kind of
I got her a little before Christmas, but she counted as the Christmas present.
Yeah, she's cute.
Gotcha.
I got
So
new
how the hell do you forget the puppy?
So I didn't get my wife anything.
It's so funny. It's like
Yeah,
puppies are a
how-
terrible gift to give unless you're giving it to Catherine, and then that's the best gift.
Yeah. I'll take 10. I'll take up.
Awesome.
As many as I can get.
Yeah.
Are you guys going
All
to
right, you guys want to
IBS?
get back to your podcast?
Yeah, we do. But
What's that?
before I go
Going
there,
IBS?
when are we going to see you again?
I don't know.
Are you guys going to
Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
IBS?
We're
Kind of
thinking about it.
undecided. Yeah.
Well, if
We
that
don't have any
doesn't
plans yet.
if that doesn't push you over the edge,
We're doing a super quick trip. We're like, what are we, in on Tuesday and out on Thursday, I think. So we land the day the show starts and we leave the last day. So typically we come in a day early and leave a day after, but we're tired of Vegas. Like we've been there too many
That's
times.
a lot of days in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you guys pick us up? Carpool? That'd
Yeah.
be great.
probably on the way.
Yeah, I think so.
Just
It's
like
south.
hold your thumb
Yeah.
up, and if we see it, we'll for sure swing past.
Perfect. Perfect. We're thinking about going. I think maybe you did just put us over the top. Maybe we'll have to go now. Maybe we will.
You might as well.
One solid night in Vegas together, you know? Maybe 2 nights.
Yeah.
We could
Two
go to
nights,
the,
but one
we could go to the
one
Sphere.
getting ready. Oh, I already went. Did you go?
I've been once. Yep. At Deck
Deck
Expo.
Expo?
Yep.
Yeah, it was pretty sweet. It was pretty sweet.
It's good.
Well,
Okay.
yeah. Do you want me to be part of the rest of this episode? Or you guys want to get back to
Well,
it?
we
Am
were
I
really at the
co-host
end.
now? Like,
The zip up part was the very
how
last
often
point.
How often are we going to do this podcast? Is it like every week?
Like literally we're going to hit end on this one and then do another one. So if you're on your toes, you could be on 3 in a row.
All right.
Really great.
Oh, look at that. Levi just said, I still have a few beds left in the Airbnb if you need a place to crash.
There you go.
Hey-o. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, we're gonna see if
All right.
buddy
Hey.
Tyler's coming. But
Make it happen, and if you're gonna make it happen, let us know you're making it happen so we can connect. Okay?
Perfect. We'll probably surprise you if we do come
okay,
and not let you know.
I like surprises.
Just so you got something to look forward to.
Even better idea.
Yeah.
We'll meet you at the
All right,
Adorn
thanks,
Stone
guys.
booth.
Yeah, I don't think they have one, but we can make one. A makeshift one.
Sounds good.
I'll bring it in my carry.
Okay, enjoy the van. Check the oil. Fill the
Bye.
tank. See you later, everyone.
Hi
Bye.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Well, wasn't that a pleasant little surprise? You got to end them. Get them out of here.
They end them.
All right. So,
Okay, watch this. Watch the viewership just plummet.
Yeah.
Watch this go.
zip up, in case anybody to go through that really quick. This one attaches to the bottom of the joist, unlike the previous ones.
Correct.
So this one, unlike the previous ones, can be retrofitted on any deck. So,
Which is
as long as
certainly
it's
nice.
framed normally, which is a huge benefit. So whether it's a new deck, old deck, whatever, you can add zip up and control your water that way. To Sean's point on there, it gives you a finished soffit ceiling on the bottom as well. None of the other ones do that. The other ones, either you leave it open or you have to pay again to have a soffit installed.
Yep.
So this one's kind of a 2-in-1. It does cost more as a result of that. You can get it in different colors. You can get it in those wood grain
I
patterns.
don't know that it costs that much more by the time you factor in like water management from the other ones and then soffit.
Sure. If you're going to do Rain Escape plus soffit and pay for install on both, you're at least at the price of zip up.
Certainly.
So it has that advantage. It, like Rain Escape, the deck can be built flat and the pitch is created by the troughs underneath the deck.
Excellent. Yep.
So that's a really nice thing. It dumps into a gutter just like Rain Escape does, diverts the water away. One thing Sean did mention too that I really like about the system is that the panels are removable and they're very easy to remove. Yes. So if you do happen to get stuff gummed up in there, maybe you have a bunch of big trees in your yard that spit out seeds all the time, and if they get full of seeds or just dirt and dust, you can pop the panels out, clean them out, put them back in, no problem.
Or if you drop something like whatever,
Credit
a
card.
wedding ring or
something like that. So that's a really nice feature as well. I know a lot of people express concerns about Rain Escape in cold climates, being like, doesn't the ice build up in there? And it's like, in my experience, like not really, because it's pitched and it tends to run out and it's a slippery plastic. It can a little bit, but the nice thing about the zip up is in the same scenario, if it was to build up a little bit, you tap the bottom, like they're flexible. You just like tap a little bit, it breaks the ice up and it'll slide out.
Yeah.
So it's really probably the one that's easiest to perform maintenance on as well if you needed to. I've seen, because ZipUp showed us this, that people actually use this stuff for a variety of things. They have showed us like car washes that use the ZipUp system on the side of the walls as a wall finish.
Yep.
Creates a cavity behind. It's like impervious to moisture because it's completely plastic, and you get different patterns and stuff. So it's kind of like a little bit of a multi-use type material as well.
Certainly. Yeah. I like I like how it stands off the joist as well. So it keeps the water away from the framing. Like, of course, the water has to pass across the framing to get to it, but it's a better version of dry space.
Yeah. And so if there was one knock on it, that might be it, is that it does still allow your lumber underneath to get wet.
Yeah.
And it is going to restrict airflow around those joists a little bit versus not closing in your deck at all and has plenty of airflow. So it does restrict airflow.
Yeah.
But pretty minor inconvenience.
Yeah. But a great retrofit system.
We have done a lot of research, seen a lot of products that install similarly to this on the bottom of the joist. There's a number of them out there. This one seems to unanimously always be recommended as the best system out there for kind of the underneath the joist install.
Yeah.
Just because of its ease of install, looks great.
Yeah. And so for those reasons, we will stock it this year.
Also in stock at the Ultimate Deck Shop. So there you go. Like I mentioned, there's lots of ways to do it, but that's four of the most common and available ways to get a dry deck. You don't just have to do vinyl sheet. If you like the look of that, fine. But there are other options where you can use whatever decking you want, whether it's wood, whether it's composite, whether it's tile. These other systems allow you to do anything. And that's usually what people are wanting to do. They have something else in mind, not vinyl sheet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Any comments on the Instagram that you wanted to touch on there before we peace out in this episode?
I saw.
Good.
Like John's trying to sell more Q-Tech.
Never ends with that guy. God, hey? Okay, well, if that's it, then that's it. What are you going to do? Thanks for tuning in. If you're heading to IBS, we'll see you there. Peace out.
Thank you for listening to the Ultimate Deck Podcast. Now you know what we're about. Check the site, come and shop. UltimateDeckShop.com. Hit us right away for sponsorships or tell us if you want to collaborate. Let's go. Check us out on any social networks. Thank you for listening.